Hello, people. Welcome to another edition of Dashawns2cents. And this is a special one because it's the first time I've had a woman on twice. Ruby Raze to do that honor.
Thank you.
You feel honored to be on twice finally.
I feel very honored.
You're the first two-time woman.
I am. I'm the first two-timer here.
Let's talk about our rough history. Your first match officially was with Chris Evans, and I had some rough things to say about it. I apologize. You've gotten so much better from it. I really enjoy your matches and stuff now.
You don't have to apologize for anything you say ever. Your match, your opinion on my match is your opinion on my match, and that's fine.
Yeah.
To be frank and to be fair, that match was. I was a manager. I wasn't a wrestler. I was a manager that was called out to a match by Chris Evans. So that is essentially what happened. I got my ass beat a lot.
And there's a cool story. Didn't you? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got my ass beat a lot, and I didn't win, but I think I put up a hell of a fight. So.
And there's a cool story that's on Facebook about B-Boys doing training seminar here. What day is it? The July
19th. July 19th here at Santinos Brothers.
You give a great story. Tell people what you said on Facebook, this big status you put. It goes into that match with Chris Evans.
Yeah, actually, it was my first match, and we got there literally like 4 hours early, just me and Tyler to roll around in the ring, and B-Boy was there too, and it's kind of hard to learn things when it's just you and one other person. But B-Boy stepped in. He taught me a lot in 2 hours. He taught me transitions, holds, like how to get my pacing down and what to do if I'm put in this situation or that situation, and some big moves to try to combat, just to combat with. And it was a great experience, and I learned so much in just 2 short hours before the match. And I honestly think if it wasn't for B-Boy helping prepare me for that, like I would have been mincemeat. It would have been over. So yeah.
David, what was your next big match after that?
My next big match after that was actually the women's tournament. It was me against Kikyo.
This past interview, Kikyo Nakamura.
Yeah, Kikyo. It was me and her first round. It was a really, much like tonight, it was very strong person against strong person, and she got the better of me, but again, I felt like it was a good, strong showing. I think that night I worked 3 times that night, so.
The Battle Royal, and the
5-on-5.
5-on-5.
Yeah, 5-on-5.
The craziest match of last year, I dare say. That match was not for kids. There was some crazy stuff. There was some crazy stuff in that match.
Yeah, there was at one time there was a condom out. There was but the girls won.
Yeah, my camera person missed that match. But one thing I think was helping you to train is Santinos. I think it's helped you since you gone there.
Yes. So last year, actually, right before the women's match, I talked to Robbie at a Battleground show because one of the most important things to me was if I'm going to go into training for wrestling, because I was already managing for 5 years, so if I was going to go into training for wrestling, I didn't want to be trained any different because I was a female. And I talked to Robbie about that, and he said, absolutely not. At Santinos Brothers, you are a wrestler, period. It's not a gender, you're a wrestler. And that really made me feel confident to come to Santinos. And last June, I signed up, and I've been here ever since. And it's been amazing. And I feel like I've improved leaps and bounds in a year. And granted, I've only had 12 matches, but I feel like I've learned so much being here at Santinos.
And one of those matches was a show stealer. Battleground last year, you, Nicole Savoy, and Brittany Wonder, standing ovation with the boys in the back. Tell me about that match.
Yeah, that was I think it was just came down to really good chemistry and working with people that are well trained. I think there's a sect of women coming out in California who really want to prove themselves as wrestlers, not as divas, not as female wrestlers, but as wrestlers. And Nicole Savoy and Brittany Wonder are definitely 2 of them. I hope it was, along with myself and a couple others, obviously. But we went out there and we just wanted to make sure that we put on a good match, that we beat the crap out of each other, that we did wrestling justice. So, not just as females, but just as wrestlers.
I think right now, in the women's tournament, the past women's tournament for Bart showed it, the women's wrestling depth is, when I first started going shows, what got me to shows was a women's wrestling match. You were out the show, Tara Kyle versus Winter. You were managing Tyler Bateman.
Yeah,
I think it's improved leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
The women's division since that was it December 2011.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I know the match you're talking about. Yeah, and I think not to place blame or to point fingers at anything, but I think because female wrestlers are such a rarity that when you do get a woman that can wrestle, even if she's not proficient, even if she's not up to like top tier that they'll just start putting you in matches, and they'll start, people want to see women's wrestling as much as people say, oh, women's wrestling doesn't draw, oh, women's wrestling doesn't make money. Well, guess what? Women's wrestling actually does bring people to shows. I mean, you're proof of it right there.
I went to a show because I saw, hey, winter's wrestling, that could be cool. It was like 50 minutes from my house. That like location was part of it, but still, I saw you just come out busting, like the badass manager you were those few years.
Yeah, and by all means, this was not meant as a take on Tara Calloway, because Tara's actually, ever since the first time I met Tara, she's improved.
I think she's the one that held down the division. She just did what she was supposed to do.
She did.
She was put in a position. She just did what she did.
She did, and honestly, for a good chunk of a while there, it was Tara Calloway was doing all the matches.
I think she was the women's division, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. And so that's something to be proud of.
I know he wants.
Yeah, it's good. It's good, and I think things are improving. I think they're only going to keep improving when, you got women that are working on shows and continuing to train and continuing to want to be treated as an equal rather than an inferior.
Then we got women joining Santinos and wanting to be trained, which is cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that too. Anytime I see a girl come here, I'm like, hey, come talk to me.
Yeah, definitely.
Come and talk to me. Let's get you.
They don't say, I want to be next Kelly Kelly.
Yeah, exactly.
We want to be next Fisto, the next Mickey Knuckles. Next, That's what we want to be.
Exactly, and there's a lot of good females out there to look up to. I mean, just in the U.S. alone, you've got the Sarah Del Rey's, the Melissa Anderson, Lufisto's in Canada, but she works a lot here, and you got also inspirations from foreign countries like Hana or Hiroyo Matsumoto. There's a lot of great wrestlers. So.
I think we'll touch on before we leave your injury from last year. You're supposed to pick Raze in December, but tell us about that and the Lord recovery. Now you're back, fully recovered, not fully recovered, but still.
Mostly recovered, and it's really interesting because if you ask me what's wrong with me, we still don't know. It was just literally one day I woke up and I was going to USC at the time. I was in class and all of a sudden everything got dizzy, everything got hot. Turns out I had a fever of 104 and a heart rate of 145. I wound up getting put in the hospital. They found out my spleen was enlarged. And I had about half the red blood cells of a normal person. So I was really anemic and I didn't know. Spent time in the hospital, got a spinal tap, never get one. They hurt. Obviously, if you have to get one, they hurt. I was actually literally laying in bed for 3 weeks. Sucked. I couldn't do anything for 3 months. It really sucked. I could walk. They allowed me to walk. But at 3 months, I went and I saw a hematologist, and she's like, yeah, you could go back to wrestling. Be very careful. You take impact here, this could pop your spleen. And so I made the conscious decision that, I want this. I want to go back to, I want this. I want to go back to wrestling. So I talked to Joey, I talked to Robbie, I came back, and they've been teaching me how to make sure that I stay protected and I keep protecting myself, and I could still work and I could still wrestle. And I went in and I checked it, and they said it's getting smaller. It's not small normal yet, but it's getting smaller. So I'm allowing myself a little bit more. Obviously, I don't want to get kicked in the stomach, so if someone's coming at me, I'm probably going to punch you in the face. Yeah.
And after injury, you got in the ring, you got for the flashback, a big show for here, Santinos Diamond Memorial, you got in the ring, Ultimate Warrior. How was that? Winning the Battle Royal, first time being back, how was it being back in the ring after so many months outside of it?
It was amazing. It was seriously amazing. And to get to be able to portray Ultimate Warrior in that it was heartwarming. It was everything that wrestling should be. Everything that when you're a kid and you're looking at wrestling and you're feeling it and you want to get up on the top rope and put your hands up. It was all of that. And it really sucked that I really wish I could have enjoyed it more, but I was so conscious that I had been injured that was always in the back of my head. But even despite that, it was still an amazing time, and it was great to do that.
Then Ray coming in the ring, raising her hand, all that was a great moment.
Squashing that shit in there. Squashing that
it's
stuff
all
in
right.
there.
This is uncensored. Get it on YouTube.
Getting Macho Man and Warrior to be good. So yeah.
Who's some of your favorite opponents to wrestle? Maybe had some good matches with Sage Sin, like OWA and OCCW.
So far, oh wow, I don't know. Of the official matches that I had, probably I really like wrestling with Katana, and obviously Sage Sin as well. But I think I've only wrestled Katana twice, but we've had 2 really good matches. And this Sunday at SoCal WrestleFest, I get my 3rd time with her. So
that should be good.
Yeah.
So definitely that was good conversation stuff. So announce on our plugs, Twitter, Facebook, everything.
So I'm on Facebook as Ruby Raze. I'm on Twitter as Razor Pops, RAZERPOPS, except no imitations because there's some out there. So look for the Razor Pops and you can find me.
Let's extend it because I just thought that was another question. I was like, you went to school full time, right? USC, grad school.
Yes.
I was like having a boyfriend now, like wrestling, doing manager stuff. How hard is it to manage like all that stuff? Because I know you were coming to his matches like last minute.
Yeah.
You always want to see him wrestle, but how was that?
It was. I hardly slept for a year because on top of that, I was in a master's program which did it in 1 year instead of 2 years, the way it's supposed to be done.
Yeah.
So it was already hard with that and injuries and wanting to go see Tyler wrestle and wanting for me to wrestle, and it was a lot of no sleep, a lot of, okay, you go to the show, when's your match, and try to time out like about what time I could leave my house to make sure I see him, or to make sure I get there. But I did it. I did it. I lived a little bit.
You're a do-it-all, girlfriend, student, wrestler. Thank you for being on the show. Support Santinos Bros. Yeah, definitely. So have a great day. Subscribe. Peace.
Thanks.